and welcome to the Craftmas Chronicles Week 3. If you are new here, my name is Jessica, and I am documenting every week all of the progress I have made on the handmade gifts that I am working on for Christmas this year. Spoiler alert, it's a lot. It's a lot. I am going to link up here the first video I did talking about all of the things that I am trying to make this year. I've had this all in a playlist so you can go through and see the progress each week if you want to. Otherwise, just hang out and look at the pretty things I've been knitting on. It has been conference week, which means early release for my kids, which means I have been in absolute shambles all week, getting mostly nothing done, which is fine. It's totally fine, and I'm not panicking at all. That's a big lie. But yeah, this is what we've been working on this week. I have no finished projects so far, which is totally fine. Thanksgiving's next week. I'm panicking. It's fine. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. So yeah, no finished objects to share this week. I do have some acquisitions, which is finally the end of acquisitions for these projects. Funny little side note. I am also doing the Dopey Challenge I run. I'm doing the Dopey Challenge at Disney World in January, which means amidst all of my Christmas crafting, I am also trying to make 4 potentially over the top, you might say, costumes for my Run Disney stuff. For those that are non-runners, which is probably most people that happen upon a knitting and sewing vlog situation, the Dopey Challenge down there for Run Disney is a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon back to back to back to back. So in addition to all of the crafting, I am trying to run and make all of my costumes. I probably need to borrow the entire production team behind the Dancing with the Stars costumes at this point because I am so far behind. I've had most of these ideas for a year. That's a story for another day, but I will probably make some videos of the process of making those. Just kind of a behind the scenes look, if you will. I don't know. We'll see where that goes. Anyway, we're going to do things just a little bit out of order this week. Usually it's finished objects and then works in progress, and then I go into my acquisitions, but I want to show you my acquisitions first. So first off, because last week I told you guys that I signed up for a test knit also, not thinking I would get in, and then I did. So this is the yarn I acquired for my test knit. It is the Knit Picks Wonder Fluff in Sweet Pea Heather, and it is glorious. Glorious. I probably didn't need quite as much as I ordered, but I am tall, so I'm going to need a little more than the pattern calls for just to add length. So I got 10 balls of this. I have worked through 3 already. This is the 4th one. So spoiler alert, you'll get to see that very soon. But this is maybe my favorite acquisition because it is just so soft. The pattern calls for Kimaro's Snefnug, which is beautiful and I have heard is heavenly to work with. But the Wonder Fluff was about half the price. And I want a neutral one eventually, and I will probably get the Snefnug for that. But I want to go look in person because I want to find the best off-white to go with my skin tone and whatnot. So that's easier to do in person. So for right now, we are doing the test knit in the Wonder Fluff, and I wish you could feel this because it is genuinely so fluffy, and it has been such a joy to knit with. My hands are so happy. Anyway, that was that one. Then my other acquisitions are also Knit Picks. First was Knit Picks palette in Hyacinth. This was in Hyacinth. This is going to be for my youngest's big bow bonnet. It's very pretty. I don't know if that's going to give you an accurate representation of the color, but that'll be for the big bow bonnet. I have some mohair to hold with it that I got at the thrift store. So this is going to be cute. Super excited for this one. And then the last of the acquisitions was Knit Picks Swish in DK weight, and it is the color Throne. So that one's pretty. This is going to be for the middle child sweater. It's also really, I haven't knit with this yet. I need to swatch it up because it is super wash. So I'm intrigued to see just how much it's going to grow. I'm sure it'll be fine. Luckily, she's a kid, so she's going to keep getting taller and bigger. So if it's a little oversized now, that just means it'll last a few more seasons. So that was the last of the acquisitions. Into whips. I branched out a little bit this past week. I had been very monogamously knitting and only doing one project at a time since before Halloween because I was determined to finish my first pair of socks for Socktober, and I did, but that meant I was only knitting on my socks for quite some time to get those done. And then on Halloween, I cast on my Finest Kind sweater for my husband's gift. And that is all this bad boy is all I have been working on up until Monday, because that is when my Knit Picks order came in and I got a little distracted. So we are done with the body. Hold it up here. I think you can see most of it. Body, collar, hem, the whole shebang is done. I am down to needing sleeves. When I tell you I sat most of Sunday and worked on these sleeves, and that's all the further I got, it's traumatic at this point. So that's as far as I've gotten on the sleeve, which is part of the reason that I quit knitting on just this. It got too heavy to haul out to like the bus stop to pick up my kids and stuff, but also I just got so frustrated with how long the sleeve was taking me. It's so long, but we're gonna rock and roll through it. I'm gonna show you my other whip next, and then we'll talk about the plans for this. So onto the test knit. I got the yarn on Monday. I swatched it. It wet blocked it. It dried by the fireplace very quickly because it's like a blown yarn. So it's got like a hollow kind of core and then it's just fluffy on the outside. So it's not dense. So it dried quick. So I cast on Monday night and this is Friday and this is where we're at. I have obviously split for sleeves. I have to knit, I think I have about 10 more inches of underarm, but this is, I started about here last night. So this was one night of work. I'm hoping I can get maybe the body done tonight. My casual goal is to get this done in a week. I don't know how realistic that is because I do have a very busy weekend. We're going to a Christmas bazaar tomorrow and then a few detour stops after that. I think we're starting early, but then I also need to run back to that marathon thing. So, it's going to be interesting. I would hope I can for sure get the body done by Monday. I would love to have just a sweater in a week and be done with it by Monday night. So then I can I would like to be done with it in a week just to see if I can do it. It's a bulky weight yarn and I'm doing it on size 10 needles. Yeah, size 10 needles. So 6 millimeters for my non-American needle people. But we're there. I honestly think I can probably finish the body tonight if my husband gets off work in time to be here to do bath time and all of the things. So if I sat down and put a good few hours into it tonight, I can get the body done. And then I would just have to do one sleeve a day for the weekend. That's reasonable, maybe. Yeah, totally reasonable. Okay, so back to this. The plan is to finish that one up and then get back to the sleeves on this. So thanks to the large amount of stockinette stitch in that other sweater project, I am finally kind of in the mood to pick this back up and have a little bit more of a mental challenge with just the moss stitch and stuff. But since I've got that 1 week deadline in my head, I kind of want to rip through that first, and then I'll take a break from stockinette stitch, finish this up, and then I'll either finish one sleeve and then cast on a simple sweater for one of the girls, or I will finish the whole thing and then get into their sweaters. I'm not sure which way I'm going to do it yet. Come back next week and we'll all find out together. So that's where we're at on that one. And then the other whip I have. I don't remember if I shared this last week or not. I should probably go back and watch, but I'm not going to do that because I'm in a hurry. This is the Big Bow Bonnet by Park and Knit, and I am doing it with the Hobby, one of them, Diablo, that I got at the thrift store, held with palette. So that's going to be what I'm doing for this one. Also, this will be the exact same thing with purple mohair, obviously. So I've gotten through, the color on this is so pretty. I've gotten through the back, the sides. The safety pins are where I'm going to, it's going to have like a folded brim back down. And then that's the channel that the bow will go through. This whole section was supposed to be done on a smaller size needle, which I did not realize until just now or yesterday probably. So I'm not picking out 9 rows for a bonnet channel. So I'm just going to switch to the smaller needle size for the remaining like inch and a half that I have to do on here. And I think it'll be just fine. I'm sure that the needle size is just to like suck it in and make the fit just a little bit nicer, but it's for a small child and it's going to be just fine. So this, it has become my bus stop project just because it's smaller, easier to work on. I'm trying harder not to work on it in front of the child that it's a gift for, because I like it to be a little bit of a surprise on Christmas, but we'll see. We will see. So that's where we're at on all of our whips and acquisitions. All right, that's it for this week. It's been a quick one because I am just in shambles all week. My anxiety is through the roof about getting things done, which is silly. I wanted to slow down and be more intentional and enjoy the process and all of the things. And instead, I've piled all of this stuff on top of myself. And I'm starting to think about ways to like offset my stress a little bit. Maybe finishing hats for the girls for Christmas and the sweaters being their birthday gifts or something along those lines, because they do both have January birthdays. But we're a military family, so holiday traditions are harder to come by. We don't have that consistency of year to year, like, oh, we can't go to the same restaurant. We can't go get a tree from the same place. We can't, go see the Christmas lights on this street or this town event or whatever. And we've been very fortunate to be here where my family is and get to kind of plug ourselves back into family holidays. And that we should get at least, well, one more Christmas like that this year, and next year should be like that. And then who knows what will happen. So I've been trying to find ways to make holiday traditions that we can take with us anywhere, because we do have another 6 years of this. And then I don't imagine we'll come back here once my husband retires. So we're going to be kind of off on our own, doing our own thing. Once we find a place to retire and put down roots and stuff, it makes it easier to have traditions and that sort of thing. But I've been, watching the Christmassy movies and reading the Christmassy books and all of the things. And it's just, I want those traditions, but I don't know how to make it happen when I don't know where we're going to be next year. So in my head, if I knit each person in my family a sweater each year, that's kind of like our little tradition. We're not going to dive into the fact that once again puts the responsibility for tradition solely on my shoulders. That's a conversation for another day. At the same time, I do want to dial it back and be reasonable and actually enjoy the holidays. My husband was out of the country for the last 2 Christmases. So I am trying to be a little more intentional with actually taking the time to enjoy it and take advantage of him being here. So that's the sentimental, overly deep end to the Craftmas Chronicles for week 3. I would love it if you liked this video, subscribed, stick around for next week's video. I don't know how we're going to film that. We're going to figure something out, but we'll come back with an update and hopefully at least one finished object next week. Thanks for hanging out.